In this lesson, we're going to talk terminology. Now, like any subject matter, Unreal has its own long lists of lingo and jumbles of jargon. And this document is to help you get through all that. Now, specifically, a couple areas I want to introduce. One is just talking about the project versus levels itself. Now, the project has everything inside of it. It has the objects that you brought in, the materials, sound files, video files, whereas the level is a holder and it has all the coding and the placements and interactivity. So you need, and we can also go as far as world composition, and all these are links that you can read more about these. But I just want to make it clear that when you are saving off and backing up your work, you are backing up the entire project. That's kind of an important key thing. All right, and then within that project, there's levels. Okay, next. If you've done some coding in the past, one of the things that you might be familiar with is objects and classes. And Unreal follows that same kind of terminology. What I'm going to be referring to a lot in Unreal is every object that I just brought is an actor. And that actor is part of a class and it's part of an object. In addition, so some of these actors might be a component or a pawn. There's also going to be brushes that we'll talk a little bit about. There's also game modes that specify a lot of the rules for the environment. There's controller classes that will allow you to either have a player controller or an AI controller, and as well as player states. All right. Finally, there's a document that I've put together that's terminology by topics. So if we can take a quick look at that. And we've got each of the chapters in the entire 16-week course has a list of terminology that is associated with it. So some of the intro classes will have more Unreal-based lingo, whereas some of the additional classes like lighting or physics or audio, those may have specific terminologies that are also overlapping the fields of audio or lighting. So hopefully this document will be a real help, and I recommend taking a peek at it just as you're starting each chapter. And I'll try to remind you for every chapter to take a look at the vocabulary terminology document. All right, let's jump back. All right, finally, one strategy for checking out the interrelated flow of terms and keywords is to use metadata to your advantage. So I'm going to click on here, and we've got this sitemap, the Unreal sitemap. Now, if we click on filter content, you're going to see all the metadata tags that are running through the Unreal documents. So now if you come upon a piece of terminology that you're interested in knowing more about, you could click on it. Like if you click on animation, then you can see the interrelated tags as well as all the documents that are tagged with animation. So we could just click on FBX content and it'll take us to that document on FBX content pipeline, which is tagged with animation. So that's a really useful way as well of finding related resources that help explain keywords. All right. Well, hopefully that's a great starting point to some of the terminology as well as ways of researching terminology that you're wanting to know more about. That wraps us up. See you in the next video.